Hi folks, Sandra Sherman here from Guitarversum. Today I will be showing you how to get a better overview of scales and how to move them on the fretboard. I'll give you an exact plan on how long it will take you to master a scale over the fretboard. Scales have shapes that can be moved horizontally or vertically, which means stay in an area. We'll explore both situations and learn how to effectively practice scales. The goal is to be able to immediately find the scale that we need in a certain area, in the area we currently are. We'll be using a G major scale in a pattern that I call the first pattern. To move a scale to another key, we first need to know where the root and its related chord are. In this case, it's G, which is on a 3rd fret E string. We use the middle finger for it because we have another tone within this shape next left to it. The related chord is G. It's very important to remember the string and the finger that root is placed on, otherwise you'd be wrong for a semitone. We play chords more often than we play solos, usually. That's why we find them faster on the fretboard. We can take advantage of this already existing knowledge and find our scales a lot faster by imagining the related chord. The chord also outlines our scale visually very well, so make sure to always remember the whole cluster. Root with correct finger, chord, and the pattern. Okay, let's move this scale to C. We search for a C tone on the low E string with our middle finger, which is the 8th fret. We start, here's the chord. We start 1 fret left to it, because that's our first possible tone within that shape. And we now play the exact same shape, the first pattern, as I call it, that we played before. And voila, here we have a C major scale. So how can we establish a practicing routine for this? We want to make sure not to cheat ourselves by just moving up the fretboard 1 or 2 frets without even knowing what the new scale's name is. That's why we use the cycle of fourths. Fourths are far enough apart on the fretboard to not just count frets, but actually be aware of the scale's name. Here's an insert of the cycle of fourths for you. We're going to need this, so please make a screenshot or write it down yourself on a piece of paper. Let's move our scale through a couple of keys with our cycle of fourth method. We start on the C, which we just played. Play through it quickly. Now you look at your sheet, at the cycle of fourth sheet, and search for the next key. And the next key is F on that sheet. And we use our middle finger to search on a low E string for the F note, which is here. We start next left to it and play through that pattern. We have open strings here, which is rather uncomfortable, so we want to move this up an octave. An octave is our 12th fret, so 1, that's where our root is, plus 12 is 13. We move to the 13th fret, start left to it, and here's the chord on the 13th fret. It's a little hard to fret though. And we start on the 12th fret. Okay, take a look at your sheet again and you will find that the next key is the key of B flat, which is on the 6th fret. You start, here's the chord, imagine a chord before you play. You start left to it with your index finger and play through that first pattern. Okie dokie. Now you complete the cycle of fourth yourself until you've finished all 12 keys. Practice each of the 5 patterns horizontally for about 1 week. Then pick the pattern immediately right next to it and practice this one for about 1 week. Do this until you're able to play all 5 patterns horizontally. This will take you about 4 to 6 weeks. Don't think this is too easy for you so that you don't need to practice the horizontal shifts. Our goal is to be able to find the correct scale within milliseconds. Horizontal playing is required for vertical playing, which is way more difficult. There is no time for counting frets till you're there. That's why we definitely need to practice this. Now that you know and are able to play all 5 patterns horizontally, I'll show you how to stay in a certain area while changing keys. This means that we no longer shift the pattern across the fretboard when we want to change key, but to stay where we are and therefore naturally change the pattern, have to change the pattern. I divide the fretboard into 3 different areas: low, medium, and high. Low area ranges from about, this is all plus minus 1 frets, from 0 to 4th fret, middle area ranging from 4th to 8th fret, and high area from about 8th to 12th, 13th fret. I choose the middle area now, which is here. Please look at your cycle of fourth sheet and pick any scale you like. For now, we pick G. I search for a G root note in this very area, which I find on the D string. I know that this root is related to this chord. It's a G major chord. And I know that this root and this chord are related to this pattern, which I call the second pattern. But you can call it anything you like. Numbers are different on the internet and in books, so it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you know where your root is, where your chord is, and what pattern belongs to it, is related to it. Root, starting point. Remember this relation. And so on and so forth. Let's look at our sheet again and we'll find that the key after G is C. Search for a C, preferably on the lower strings in the middle area, which I find here. I know that this root is related to this chord. It's a G shape, by the way. It's a little hard to fret though. It's just good for imagining. You don't need to be able to play this chord. And I know that this root on the 6th string and this chord are related to what I call my 5th pattern. Okie dokie, let's find a last one. Next chord on your cycle of fourth sheet is the F, that should be. I find an F here on the A string. I know that on the A string I have this chord. And I know that this chord and this root is related to what I call my 3rd pattern. Root, starting point. Always you have to have a relation. Playing vertically through the cycle of fourths naturally forces you to use all 5 patterns. And this is the best finding scales exercise ever. Because in real life playing, you would not want to jump around the fretboard, for example, from here to here, just because you don't have a better option. Practice each of the areas, low, middle, and high, for about 1 week. This will give you a guitar scale workout program for about 8 weeks, including the horizontal practicing. You should then feel really comfortable finding your way around the fretboard very quickly. I hope you enjoyed this short unit on how to practice scales. If so, please give me a like and subscribe my channel. And keep on grooving.